down. But I picked myself back up and I started telling me, no, my God's not done making me a masterpiece. He's still working on me. He started something good and I'm gonna believe it. He started something good, he's gonna complete it. So I celebrate the truth. His work in me ain't through. I'm just unfinished. Just unfinished. So I celebrate the truth. His work in me ain't through. I'm just unfinished. I know it's history and the kind of God he is. He might make it a mystery, but he's proven I can trust him.
Mrs. Dr. Mrs. Emem Udoh Alade. She has been involved in different lines of academics, nutrition, energetics, animal behavior, obesity, etc. She's an educator with over 9 years professional teaching experience in the higher education. She's a researcher skilled in different areas of sciences. She's an academic mentor and she's committed to inspiring confidence and providing tools for achieving academic success. She's a writing coach as well, and she provides a lot of different consultations. So, I mean, I think we have the best person to talk about emotional intelligence today. So join me as I welcome Dr. Mrs. Emem Udoh Alade.
Hello. Hello, good afternoon.
Hi, welcome.
Good afternoon.
Hi. Branoja, where is my music? There's a particular music I asked Branoja to play for us.
She was supposed to just press next.
Okay.
Press next on the same slide. Oh. No, she's doing it. Should I share my screen?
Anything you want to do, just give us the music. I just want a little music to raise the vibration.
Okay.
Okay. Well, if we don't have the music, we will start. Okay, if we don't have the music now, I'll start and maybe in between. I just wanted the music. But it's really a pleasure to be with us this afternoon. And I'm happy, I hope we are all excited to be here. I'm excited to be sharing with us and I really appreciate your presence. I appreciate your being here. And please, I would like to share my screen. I see that I'm not able to share my screen from here, please.
Try it now.
Okay. I should try it now, okay. Okay. Can you see my screen from here?
Yes, we can.
Branoja, please, my music. Don't forget it. So yes, good afternoon, everybody. I'm very excited to be with us and I'm really happy to be speaking with us today about emotional intelligence. And as I've been introduced, my name is Emem Udoh Alade, and it's animal physiology, not animal psychology. So I have a PhD in zoology, and my work was focused on energetics, looking at the animal behavioral and physiological responses to calorie restriction. But today I'm not here to talk about calorie restriction. I'm not here to talk about obesity. I'm here to talk about emotional intelligence. And, you know, the most interesting part is that to me, the greatest resource on emotional intelligence is actually the Bible. You've got so much information in the Bible about emotional intelligence, whether you're talking about scriptural injunctions, whether you just go to the book of Proverbs alone, or whether you are looking at lifestyles, you look at character, Bible characters. There is so much in scriptures about emotional intelligence. But let me just share this scripture with us. In Galatians chapter 5, verse 22, scripture says, but the fruit of the Spirit is love, is joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, self-control. Against such there is no law. There is no law against love. There is no law in any way in the world. There's no law against peace. There's no law against patience. There's no law against self-control. There's no law against gentleness. There's no law against goodness. You see, these are the fruits of the Spirit. And I can't think of anybody expressing these fruits, expressing this characteristic, who will not be termed an emotionally intelligent person. So let me start with one or two stories. And our moderator has set the pace with the scenario she painted. And I'll just share one or two other scenarios, and we'll kind of have a feel of where emotional intelligence comes to play. I'll talk about Kyle. Kyle is a very brilliant young man. He had a first class in his undergraduate studies, and when he went back for his master's, because he's so brilliant, you know, his colleagues felt, well, you should be our class rep. You'll be able to represent us very well. You'll be able to represent us properly. And you know, as a class rep, he's to represent the students, his colleagues before the lecturers, and is also to represent the lecturers before the students. And in one of Kyle's interactions with a fellow student, a lecturer had given an assignment, and a fellow student who was an international student reached out to Kyle on the personal WhatsApp platform, and was like, Kyle, please, I didn't really quite get what the lecturer wanted. How are we supposed to do this group work? How do I connect with my group and all that? And was asking Kyle questions. And Kyle responded to the student, I'm not your mother, I'm not your father, you're an adult, you should be able to deal with it, and I'm not supposed to be telling you all that. And then Kyle takes the conversation, the person reached out to him in the private space, and then posted it in the general group. And you can imagine the conflict of emotions and everything that came out of it, considering that Kyle was a local student, and while the other student was international. So you could imagine what came out of them. And now let's also take the case of Dan. Dan is a brilliant businessman. He's made, you know, lots of wealth negotiations. He's brilliant. He has properties. He has so many things around. And because of that, he decides to go into elections, and he contests for elections. He becomes, you know, one of the number one person in his country. And people look up to Dan, but Dan is somebody who cannot, you know, manage his emotions. He can't stomach insults. And once there is a little, you know, quarrel or a little disagreement with Dan, the next thing he fires the person. And so before you know it, in Dan's cabinet, you're having so many people, you know, having to leave, his personal aide, different secretaries, different ministers. And before you know it, even the people who are people of the same party with Dan are not able to, you know, to even defend his actions any longer. And Dan would go to the internet, would go to everywhere, and, you know, to leave out his emotions. Unfortunately for Dan, he could not keep up with his, you know, political ambition, just because no matter how brilliant he was as a businessman, he was not able to handle his emotions. Now, I'll leave the story of Kyle, I'll leave the story of Dan, and I want us to look at ourselves. We are here today. We all are aware of intelligence. Anytime we think of intelligence, we think of IQ, we think about our cognitive abilities, our ability to think, our ability to learn from experience, our ability to solve problems, our ability to use knowledge to adapt to new experiences. We're always thinking about that. And IQ is great. IQ is great. It gives you that leverage. It takes your legs, it brings your feet to the door. But when you have equally brilliant people, when you have you and your colleagues at the University of Aberdeen or at the Robert Gordon University, or you are in Cambridge, or you are in Oxford, or in Harvard, all of you equally brilliant, or at least not varying in brilliance, what is going to distinguish you? What is going to set you apart? What will set you apart is your emotional intelligence. Your technical skills are great, it's excellent, but it's your emotional intelligence, your ability to handle your own emotions, your ability to understand your own emotions, and your ability to deal, interpersonal relationships with others. That is what will set you apart. And even in the business world, it's been said that your technical skills can only take you so far, possibly to middle management. But as you go up the ladder, climb the ladder in managerial roles, EQ is the separator. In fact, it is said that emotional intelligence, bosses who show high level of emotional intelligence, who create a positive atmosphere for interaction and in their workplaces, are seen as competent even by their subordinates. But for those who are brash, they're just brash, harsh, it is either my way or the highway. No matter how brilliant they are, people feel like they don't know what they are doing, and they're not able to gather people to achieve their goals. So that's where emotional intelligence comes out. And besides that, you see, intelligence is not fixed. The psychologists, they have so many studies. I know obviously today it's not a psychology class, but the psychologists, they have so many theories of intelligence. And one of the psychologists, Howard Gardner, talked about the principle or the concept of multiple intelligence. And it's like, look, intelligence is not a fixed construct. It's not just one thing that is just said, just the G factor just said, and is fixed at birth. And, if you're just having a high IQ or someone that has a low IQ, that is it is fixed. No, he talks about the concept of multiple intelligence that also takes into account cultural context. And it looks at some people are word smart. They have verbal linguistic skills and abilities. Some people are, logical smart. They have logical mathematical abilities. Some people are nature smart. Some people are self-smart. Those are intrapersonal skills. Some people are picture smart. They have visual, spatial skills, hand-eye coordination. Some people are musically smart. Some people are also body smart. And so you can see different concepts, and he sees all this as potentials that can be improved upon. So he talks about the concept of multiple intelligences. And when you look at Howard Gardner's classification, you look at intrapersonal, look at interpersonal skills. That is the ambit, the angle from where emotional intelligence will come about. And so when we say emotional intelligence now, basically we are talking about the intelligent use of our emotions. The intelligent use of our emotions. And as I've presented it here by the Mayer and Salovey model, they look at emotions as the ability to perceive, ability to understand, ability to manage, and ability to use emotions, and the intelligent use of our emotions. And when we look at perceiving, perception, it deals with how we recognizing how you're feeling, recognizing how others are feeling, your ability to read facial expressions. When you talk about you strategically use emotions to facilitate adaptive reasoning, to facilitate problem solving, to facilitate creativity, to create a culture, a culture of positivity in your team, in your unit where you are leading, in your group. You have a group assignment as students, and you are the group leader, or even you're not the group leader, you are a team member. You're able to use emotions to facilitate adaptive reasoning, problem solving, creativity. We talk about understanding. We know that emotions are complex. Emotions are not just You know, they're complex. So you look at the complexity of emotion. You look at the why behind the emotion. You look at the causes of the emotions. And not only that, you're able to, you know, with your knowledge of perception of what you have perceived in emotion, you're able to predict how the emotion will change over time. Looking at the way things are going, how can I prevent things from escalating? How can I de-escalate tension? So you understand. And then you're able to manage. Those are, you know, you're able to respond appropriately. You're able to use that knowledge you have about your emotion to manage yourself, to manage outbursts, to calm fears, to show care, to show understanding. So when we talk about managing emotions, at the end of the day, it all comes down to your behavior. Because, you know, our emotions, our thoughts, our decisions, our behavior, everything is linked together. You cannot chuck your emotion out the door and say, oh, I'm a rational being. I don't care what people say. I don't care what people feel. No, you've got to be able to manage your emotions, to be able to regulate your emotions. So that mode of perception, using and understanding our emotions, that is what emotional intelligence is about. Now, why is this emotional intelligence so important? I mean, what's the big deal? So what? As I said earlier, our emotions, our thoughts, our decisions, they are connected. And for career progression, you need emotional intelligence. Your technical skills can only take you so far. They are the you know, your domain skills, they are the entry point. You need emotional intelligence for successful leadership. If not, people will sabotage your leadership no matter how good you are. If you're not able to rally people, if you're not able to make people feel, you know, see your authenticity or foster trustworthiness in people, your leadership will be sabotaged. Get things done. You need emotional intelligence for your own mental health. If not, you're just going to be under stress, climate of conflict, climate of you know, just a climate of, I don't know, you know, there's some, I don't know if some of us have experienced this. You are doing a job together with people. There's no big deal in the job. It's not like the job is really hard. But what's happening is that the people, the tension is just too much. So at the end of the day, you are so stressed, not from the difficulty of the job, but because of the psychological climate around it. So if we don't work on these things, our mental health can suffer. When you have, when you boost your emotional intelligence, you have an improved quality of life. Happiness, overall happiness, your relationships with our children, with our husbands or wives or significant others, with our friends, with our bosses, with our colleagues, we have better relationships. And interestingly, emotional intelligence is shown to have effect on the bottom line, on business profits. Hello, people buy from people. People don't just buy products just because the product is good. People buy from people. And who likes you is as important as how qualified you are. Some people are not able to rise in an organization because they are not liked. And so nobody wants to recommend them for promotion or recommend them for a leadership position. So emotional intelligence is key. So I want to know if I'm being heard. Can I, well, I can't see the charts. Can I see the charts? Can I see the chat? If you can feel me, if you can hear me, I want to see, just drop a number 7. In number 7, I want to get feedback. Okay. Can you drop a number 7 on the chat if you are hearing me, if I'm clear?
Okay.
Oh, okay, thank you. I can see Eunice, I can see Chimeze, I can see PA. Yeah, Grace. Oh, Grace is right on smoothly. Thank you so much. So now let's see, what are the core competencies? You know, I've talked about the perception, using, managing our emotions. Now, we can also look at emotional intelligence from 2 major domains, intrapersonal and interpersonal. Interpersonal with ourselves, our relationship with ourselves, and interpersonal, our relationship with others. So those are where some of the competencies of emotional intelligence are. And I'm going to kind of dwell a bit more on the intrapersonal. So that's where the weight of my talk will rest on. And I'll still talk about interpersonal, but I'll dwell a lot on the intrapersonal. And what I just want to encourage us is that emotional intelligence is not and is not, can be learned, it can be measured. You see, the truth is that we actually have been doing these things at a subconscious level, studying people, understanding people, trying to know, how do I act in this way? What do I say? But what I am hoping to do today is to be able to bring it from our subconscious to our conscious awareness, where we actually consciously develop the skills that we already have and unlearn some bad habits we might have done, and then improve and, you know, own our power and get better. So intrapersonal and interpersonal competencies. Under the intrapersonal, we have self-awareness and self-management. And under the interpersonal, we have social awareness, or we could say empathy, or social skill and social skills, or which we can call relationship skills. Now, my slide is not moving. Okay, so our self-awareness, it all begins with you. Can we unmute our mic and say it with me? It begins with me. I'd like to hear it.
It begins with me.
Yes, so emotional awareness begins with me. It all begins with you. And when we talk about self-awareness, it's about you knowing yourself. It's about you recognizing your own emotions. The question is, how do people experience you? What's going on in your own life? How do people experience you? And how do people experience themselves when they are with you? Are you a pleasant experience, or are you a painful experience to people? Think about it. Are you a pleasant experience? Are you a painful experience? And when we're talking about self-awareness, like I said, it involves emotional awareness. We recognize our own emotions, how it affects us. How is my emotion affecting our performance? Looking at this COVID situation, we left our countries, came as international students, and all of a sudden we are cooped up in our houses. Some of us have not been able to, and we've not been able to use the library. We've not even seen our colleagues face to face. Everything is online. After paying so much fees as international students, and you are sitting there in your house, you are not feeling that experience. How is it affecting your performance? Do you know? How do you feel? Have you thought about it? How is your emotions affecting others? Have you been in a place you just enter the room and you just feel like there's tension? What's happening? Just look. People are not talking, but you can feel that the atmosphere is heavy. How does your emotions affect others? As a mother in the house, you are boning, and the children are like, mommy, what's wrong? Mommy, what's wrong? Everywhere is just tense. Children don't know because you are quarreling with your husband. The children are suffering. How are your emotions affecting others? We have to also think about accurate self-assessment. Do you know your strengths? Do you know your limits? Do you know the triggers? Do you know the things? If you are the type that you find yourself, you get angry easily, your body is used to pepper you. Can you really think, what are my triggers? Do you know your stressors, the things that stresses you and the things you really can't take? And then also we talk about self-confidence. Do you have a strong sense of your self-worth? Do you have a strong sense of your abilities? Do you have a strong sense of your judgment? Do you trust your judgment? It all begins with you. And now, in the comment section, I just want us to list what are some of the types of emotions that we experience? Or can you just share in the comments or in the chat section the current emotions based on this COVID climate as a student? Please share what are some of your emotions concerning the pandemic. Can we share it in the chat? Let me see. Can I see the chat? Yeah, talk. Somebody says talk. Yes. Please, I would like to interact. We are here. We are students. The pandemic. Can you drop in the comment section? How do you feel? How do you feel about what's the emotional atmosphere around? Depressing. Somebody says depressing. Somebody says anxiousness. Yeah. Fears. Yeah. So boring. Yeah, it can be boring being in your house and easily out of options. You feel like you're underachieving. Yeah, you're right. We're all right. Yeah, at times lack of communication, you feel like you're not connecting with people, or even your teacher, they're just teaching. You don't even know whether they know what they can even feel like you're feeling. Unhappy sometimes, yeah. Thank you very much. Yes, thank you so much. I appreciate those honest feedback. You see, our emotions are complex, as I've stated. It's a complex state of feeling, and that results in physical and psychological changes that influence our thought and behavior. And usually our emotions are associated with our temperament, associated with our personality, our mood, and our motivation. And there are various aspects. There are physiological bases, there are neurological brain bases, and also our environment and so on. So it's a whole wide concept. But one thing we should take is that our emotions are complex. And we need to have language for emotions. You know, sometimes we don't feel something, but you can't place your hand. You know, I say, I don't feel somehow. What is somehow? What is somehow? I don't feel somehow. We should be able to have language for our emotions, because that helps us to, what's that thing? You're just walking and saying, I'm not just okay. I'm not just okay. Okay, me back on Yoruba. I'm just feeling somehow. But we need to have language. So let me share with us some of the, I wonder why I'm struggling to move my screen. Okay, now I'll share with us some of the language we can have to explain, because it's good to know, you know. Psychologists, they have many theories of emotions and many classifications of emotions, but there is one class, this is just one classification by Paul Ekman, where he talks about basic emotion. Paul Ekman is a psychologist and he's a facial recognition expert. And he found out that there were like he identified 6 originally, but he says like 5 basic emotions which are universally understood across different cultures. And he classified the basic ones as enjoyment, sadness, fear, anger, disgust, and surprise. And you know, these emotions, we can say some are positive and some are negative. And you know, some are, they vary in intensity. And some are high energy, like anger. When you're angry, there are some things you will do, the way you move. Well, we scatter everything today. We scatter it. You see the energy. People will be shaking. Anger. And also excitement gives you that same energy. You see people on the football field, everybody say, hey, if they go, you see the energy, you feel the pump. And also some are, you know, low energy, like somebody is sad, somebody is grieved, somebody is wounded. And even sometimes somebody's just serene, you're just calm. You're not, you know, so different intensities. But some researchers have argued that basically we shouldn't say any emotion is positive or negative, that these emotions are like data. They are telling us something. They are data, you know, as I defined emotion as a complex state of feeling that results in physical and psychological changes. So consider it as data. But whatever perspective you look at it, you see there are different intensities. So some words we can use to describe some of our emotions, like enjoyment, happiness, love, contentment, relief, amusement, joy, excitement, peace, satisfaction, compassion. So you see this different intensity. We talk about sadness. When somebody is unhappy, it's different from when somebody is hopeless. Yeah, it's different levels of sadness, different intensity on the scale. Gloomy, heartbroken, disappointed. Somebody could be disappointed but not hopeless. But if somebody is hopeless, you know, somebody could be resigned, somebody could be miserable. So this, you have to, you know, let's expand our diction, our language, our vocabulary of our emotions, so that we can understand ourselves better. You say fear, are you worried, or are you terrified? 2 different levels. I'm just worried about this assignment I have to submit. I'm terrified. Those are 2 different levels. Somebody could be desperate, confused, stressed, anxious, nervous. If somebody is angry, someone could be annoyed. It's different from if somebody is mad. It's different from if somebody is infuriated. Somebody could be peeved. Well, just pisses me off. You're just peeved. But that's different from when somebody is vengeful, ready to attack. Disgust sounds very strong. You could just dislike something. But it's different from when you loathe an individual or a situation. Someone could be nauseated, disturbed. So these are some of the language we can use, you know, to expand our emotional vocabulary. How do we now improve our self-awareness? Because we need to know ourselves. One of the ways we can do it is to actually take some psychometric tests, some of these personality tests, behavioral tests, emotional intelligence tests, different kinds of tests. There are so many online. We have some free ones, some paid ones. There are some that we even do when we are applying for jobs. They make us, before those questions they're asking, they're using it to place us. It's good because they're not perfect. No test is perfect, but it gives us a rough idea of our general patterns of behaviors, our tendencies, our leanings. So those psychometric tests help us to do that. Another way we can improve our self-awareness is the practice of journaling. You see, it's good to spend time to just reflect. You should take time to write. When you journal, you are able to disentangle and the different feelings. You're able to pinpoint. Sometimes you just know that you just feel heavy. By the time you journal, you take time you are able to say, oh, this thing started when I spoke to this person and the way he replied me. And just because the person is my superior, I couldn't reply the person back. I felt powerless to do something. And you're like, okay, this was the real problem. It's not just that you just feel this overarching sense of heaviness that you can't. So journaling is really good. It helps us to make sense of our experience. It also helps us to learn from our experience. And it takes the burden away from your mind. You're able to put it on paper. So you're able to look at it like a third person perspective. You see it and it's no more, your mind is free to utilize the space for active thinking, not just to be burdened on the ground. Then another way we can improve our self-awareness is to receive and build on feedback. This is really important. At times your wife will tell you something, your husband will tell you, or even your children, they'll mimic you. They'll tell you something, say, Mommy, why are you always shouting? You're like, am I shouting? Or you need to receive feedback. So from your superiors, sometimes formal feedback, when we do some assessment, like as students, like in the University of Aberdeen, as PhD students, we fill our 6 monthly, every 6 months, our progress report. There are feedback on that. You need to receive feedback and you need to ask for feedback. And please, when you get feedback, resist the urge to explain yourself, to say, yes, but this is why. No, just receive it first and work on it and see what to do. Then we have to consciously monitor our progress, our growth, our development. So we need to really, do it on a conscious level. Now let's talk about self-management. If you are feeling me, I want you to say yes in the chat box. Can I still see the chat box?
Yes.
Yes. Thank you so much. When we talk about self-management, we've talked about self-awareness. You are able to recognize and identify yourself. Now, how do we manage ourselves? How do we regulate our behavior? How do we adjust? How do we adapt? So that's where self-management comes in. How do we control our emotions? When we read at the beginning, the fruit of the spirit, self-control, temperance is a fruit of the spirit. How do we control our emotions? How do we handle distressing situations? How do we handle stressful situations? How can we remain focused and motivated? Even though we've come to, things are not the way we wanted. How do we remain focused and motivated despite the challenging situations? How can we stay adaptable and flexible? That before you were used to going to school, sitting down in class, listening to your lecturer live, and now you have to sit down in your room. You have to learn tools you've never used before. You're having group work with your colleagues you've never met. One is in India, one is in Pakistan, the other one is in Nigeria, the other one is in Glasgow, the other one is in Aberdeen, and they're asking you to do group work. How do you stay adaptable and flexible? How do you remain open to change? Those are aspects of self-management. And the thing about self-management is that it fosters trustworthiness. Because, when people can know that at least you are stable, it's not that they go out with you now, the person is not sure. Maybe as you get to the road, the taxi man just says something. Next thing, you have blown, you have exploded. And you're like, I beg. People will just give you your space. Because they'll greet you, hello, hi, yeah, but I don't want to work with this person. I don't want this person on my team because he can just scatter everything. If we're able to manage ourselves, it actually fosters trustworthiness because we are more reliable that way. So how do we enhance our self-management? Of course, we need to, the self-awareness is key. And then we need to accept our emotions. We need to just resist that urge. You know, like I said, we're like negative, positive emotions. In a way, yes, but in another way, you can look at it as emotions as data. Instead of trying to judge your emotion and say, I'm not supposed to be feeling like this, the question is accept it, understand it, reason it. Why? Maybe that person posted something about his success on Facebook and you just feel jealous. Instead of you to just say, no, I just envy the person. If you feel jealous, tell yourself, I feel jealous about this person. Then ask yourself, but why? Is it reflecting my own weakness? Maybe I've not been doing, I've not been doing my work well, or is it because it makes me feel bad, or do I feel like he doesn't deserve it? You need to just process. So accept your emotions. Believe that you can change. We need to, for us to really improve our self-management, we need to have a growth mindset. You need to believe that you can change. If you say, well, this is how I am, nobody can change me. This is how I am. That's how I've been since I was small. If you cannot, anybody that cannot accept me, you just, if you can't take me as I am, you just leave me. Okay, we will leave you. But if you believe you can change, you know that you can work on yourself. Another key thing you need to look at is to change our physiology. Hello, have you had a good night's sleep? Some of us are sleeping 3 hours, 4 hours, either because maybe we are working, or sometimes we are watching movies till late in the night. You've not slept well. And the next thing, your body is pepping. Any small thing, you're just, have you slept well? Sometimes your main problem is that you need to sleep soundly. And then you wake up and this is not as hard as I even said, though. Then another thing about changing your breathing. There are relaxation techniques that involve breathing. Taking deep, maybe you feel you want to have a presentation like now, and you're not feeling anxious. You take a deep breath. You hold your breath. You release it out slowly. You talk to yourself. You calm down. Breathing. So there are relaxation techniques, because everything is connected, our emotions, mind, body. So you can change your body and change your emotions. Then exercise. Exercise releases endorphins that, relieve your stress, your natural stress relievers. Take exercise. Sometimes you just need to carry your body and leave your house. Walk. Let the cold air in Aberdeen blow on your head small. Sometimes you need to pour cold water on your body. Let it just wake you up. Sometimes you need to run. You need to jog. You need to jump inside water, swim. Sometimes you just need to do an exercise. You need to get out. Sometimes you just need to do something different from your regular, just to break that chain. And meditation. You need quiet time. You just can't be moving from back to back, just walking 5 days a week, 6 days a week. You're just walking. You don't have time to be with yourself. You don't have time to think, to stay quietly, to ruminate. So these are things that can change your physiology. These are just one. If you have any other one, you can drop in the comments, ways of changing your physiology. Then another thing you can think about, disciplining your disappointment. I heard this phrase from Tony Robbins in one of his adverts, discipline your disappointment. To be honest, like, we know that the current situation we are in is not what many of us planned for. And it's easy to be disappointed. I've interacted with people who told me that they feel like they were cheated coming as international students at this time. They feel that they're not getting the full experience of what their international studentship should offer. And they feel disappointed. They're just wondering, did I make a mistake? Besides that, I don't know, maybe PhD students in the house, or those who have had, I don't know if there's any PhD students that did not get to a point in time they work and they ask and say, who sent me? Why did I? Somebody told me, say, I don't even know why I resigned my work and left my high-paying job and came for PhD. I don't even know if it's worth it. Sometimes when you meet setback, you need to discipline your disappointment. You need to acknowledge and accept it, but you need to also, just discipline your disappointment and take the next steps. Establishing boundaries. You just need to know some things you can take and some things you can't take. Establishing boundaries. There are some people, when you Connect with them the way they talk you down. You may need to just get them out of your life. Establishing boundaries. Sometimes you just need to say no. The load is too much. You just need to say no. Say, thank you, I really appreciate, but not now. It could be a no. It could be, I'll get back to you later, or maybe not now, some other time. You know, different, but no is a complete sentence. We also need to be willing to learn new mindsets and new skills. You have, if you've not been very good at using the computer, now you are doing everything online, you'll be willing to learn. We should be open to mentorship and coaching. And I'm telling you, despite the fact that school is online, you can still have mentorship. If you're a master's student, can you find a PhD student in that your field whom you can, you know, discuss your work with? As a PhD student, besides your supervisor, can you connect with other researchers in your field? Okay, so like for example, when I was doing my PhD, apart from my supervisors, I had my advisor who provided like pastoral support. I used to go to him sometimes if I'm stuck in my work. And interestingly, he's the first person who taught me how to use R, because I just went to him, I was stuck in some analysis, and I joined his undergraduate class. I sat in through, I only didn't do the exam, but I went to all the lectures, did all the labs, and did everything. Mentorship, coaching. We should be willing to practice, you know, because this thing, the song I asked Brother Onoja to play, which I hope he has gotten ready, is titled Unfinished by Mandisa. You see, we may not be perfect in these things, but we are working it out. We need to be ready to practice new behavior. And, you know, at times you just need to be patient, respond, do not react. Someone might come and say something before you join, you just want to spark. Calm down, respond, do not react. Besides that, smile. Hello, how many of us are on videos? I want to see our smiles. Smile. Smile. I can see by Yakubu. I can see Sister Chimeze. Banoja, I cannot see your face. Smile. You see, a smile is recognized in any culture. Sometimes you just need to smile. Just smile, first of all. It will calm down the tension. So smile. It will even relax your facial muscles. Huh? Then, you know, we need to seek community, especially now. Please don't stay alone. The Glight Ambassadors is a great community to join. For research students or even lecturers in Aberdeen, we have the Nigeria Research Group, where researchers from even within and outside Aberdeen, we come together, you have presentations, connect. Professional memberships. Professional memberships are there. The student activities, all those teams, join a Teams, say Microsoft Teams in your whatever platform you use, join something, get out of yourself, you know, and you need to seek community. Don't die in silence, please. If you know somebody that is struggling, if you can't help the person, connect the person, seek community. We need to speak right words. You see, when you speak right words, it's also part of the way you build your self-confidence. You talk to your self-talk. You talk to yourself well. Be kind to yourself. Stop abusing yourself. I just do stupid. Everything, it's only me. Everybody's better. No, talk to yourself with kindness. The thing you cannot allow somebody to tell you, don't tell yourself that. Respect yourself. So we need to speak right words, speak affirmations. I'm a child of the King. The hand of God is upon my life. I know who I am. Success is my portion. You know, you speak confidently, speak right word. Take up new roles and challenges. I'm the shy type. Yes, you are the shy type. The next group assignment, can you be the group leader? Take up new roles, take up new challenges, volunteer, and therapy. Hello, everybody. Hello. Can I hear hello back? Hello, unmute yourself. Hello.
Hello.
Yakubu here.
Hello. So, let's be honest.
Hello.
Kabari, I can see you. That's from Teesside University. You're welcome. Thank you for joining us. Now, let's be honest with ourselves. There are some situations, our experience, we are from different backgrounds, we've had different experiences. There are some issues, smiling cannot solve it. Just praying by yourself alone cannot solve it. Sometimes you need a professional to help you to walk through. If you are dealing with difficult emotional challenges, maybe due to some traumatic events in your past, or even ongoing chronic trauma. You know, some trauma are just acute, they just happen. Maybe somebody was involved in an accident, and anytime you just hear, you start shaking, and it's all, you've had any history of maybe abuse or whatever. But please, even whether you're a Christian, it's okay not to be okay. It's okay to ask for help. So there are some times you might need therapy, or you just find that you are angry. You are just full of anger. You've prayed, you believe you are born again. You've even prayed for sanctification. Pray. But this anger will not go. Sometimes you need to untangle, where did this anger come from? Why am I so filled with anger? Sometimes you might need a therapist to be able to walk you through what happened. Are you mad at the fact that your father left you guys when you were small, and you are mad at your father, but you can't even seem to express, and every other person you're angry. So these other things, those are special cases you might need to walk through. So those are ways too. Now come, let's breathe. Take a deep breath. Put your hands on your stomach. Now take a deep breath. Count 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale gently. Okay, let's relax. I hope I'm not too fast. Am I too fast?
No, you're not. You're just perfect.
Okay, thank you very much. So now we go to the next domain. You know, I said we had the intrapersonal and we had the interpersonal. So we go to the next one, the interpersonal, where I talked about social awareness and social skills. So social awareness. Now, I don't think there was anybody as socially aware as our great Apostle Paul. That's what he used to say in 1 Corinthians chapter 9, verse 20 to 22. He said, and to the Jews, I became as a Jew, that I might win Jews. To those who are under the law, as under the law, that I might win those who are under the law. To those who are without the law, as without the law, not being without the law towards God, but under law towards Christ, that I might win those who are without law. To the weak, I became as weak, that I might win the weak. I have become all things to all men, that I might by all means save some. That was a socially aware man. And little wonder why his ministry was successful. Little wonder why God could trust him to reach the Gentiles, even though he was a Jew, even though he was a Pharisee of Pharisees, even though he was a Roman by pedigree, a Roman by citizenship, by birth. He was able to reach other people in Ephesus, in different, because he understood the context. When he was at a certain place, he said, I'm in a city, he said, oh, I saw that here you put something to the unknown God. That unknown God is the one I came to present to you. It is in him we live, it is in him we move, it is in him we have our being. This guy was socially aware. He understood context, he understood culture, social awareness. When we talk about social awareness, it's really about empathy, putting yourself in the other person's shoes. It's about considering how are others thinking. It's about cross-cultural sensitivity. You know, we are not from the same family backgrounds and cultural. We are international students or internationals here for most of us. There is a local culture. We came with our own culture. So cross-culture, are we sensitive? It's about valuing differences. It's about inclusiveness. When you organize a program, when you design an app, are you thinking of the people who may be blind or somebody who cannot hear? Are you thinking in your business, whatever, are you considering that? Are you able to make your business to adapt to people with special needs? Inclusiveness, empathy, organizational awareness. Do you know the power players? You know, at times it's so easy we get into an environment, and you know, even this particular organizational awareness, I'm actually trying to grow myself in it, because sometimes we just go into a place, we just breathe in, we just carry our head up, I'm a child of God, hallelujah. You don't know the power brokers in the house. The fact that somebody is a boss does not necessarily mean he's the power broker in that place. There might be silent influencers. Do you know who are do you know the politics of where you are? Man is a political, you know, is a political organism. So it's about service. It's about listening without judgment. It's about finding a common ground. So, like they usually say, the things that bind us together are more than the things that separate us. It's about finding a common ground. It's how do you articulate criticism? Are you a forever critic that cannot see any good thing? Or even if you see, can you, and this is some of the training lecturers are giving, even when you're giving feedback to students. You don't just come and say, your work is rubbish. You fail my class. Some of us have had that experience with some of our lecturers back home. All of you will fail. No, you're able to give constructive feedback. How do you articulate criticism? Somebody said something. Most people attribute this saying to Maya Angelou, but they say it was Carl Buena who said, people may forget what you said, but they will never forget how you made them feel. Please be a pleasant experience. Some of us will be praying, oh God, send me my helper. Send me. Your helper does not have to be someone that is bigger than you. God told Elijah, I have prepared a widow woman to sustain you. Your helper may be the gate man at the door. Treat people right. People will forget what you said, but they will never forget how you made them feel. If you make somebody feel small, they will always have it at the back of their mind, this guy. So, social skills. We talk about relationship skills. Basically, that's what social skills are. So how are we managing, proficiency in managing relationships? In building networks. Proficiency, how do you inspire people? How do we maintain rapport? Can you have friends among your colleagues in the office, or are you just always, you just enter the office, everything strong, don't go to your seat, I'm born again. I don't mix with the world. I'm separated from the world. I don't greet anybody. You see, I'm a child of God. Heaven is my home. Heaven is my home. I don't care about people on the world. Heaven is my home. I go to heaven. Hello. In heaven, we will not need your computer skills in heaven. We will not need your marketing business in heaven. We will not need your lectureship in heaven. Please, can you deal with us on earth very well? Maintaining rapport. How do you articulate enthusiasm for shared goals? So what are some key competencies in social skills that we need to think about, that we need to build? Communication, effective listening, active listening, listening without bias, listening not just to be heard, not just to be preparing the next reply, but really listening. You want to understand first and then be understood. Team building, perception management. Can you, this is usually very important when they're talking about branding. How do you want to be known? Do you know how people perceive you? Can you manage your perception? If you want to appear as somebody that is reliable, can you be reliable consistently? Can you say what are the 3 qualities that people in my field, the field want how, and then you begin to mold yourself, behave in those ways so that people perceive you that way. Conflict management, there will always be differences. Offenses will arise. How do we manage it? You are a PhD student, you're a supervisor. You believe that I have read, I'm the expert on this field, I know more than all these old men. This is the procedure I want to use, and your supervisor says, I am the boss. This is what I want. How are you going to manage it? Negotiation, influence, leadership, networking, those are some of the skills. And I just want you to know that networking is not about exchanging phone numbers. It's about connecting with people for mutual benefits. And in looking for jobs now, one of the key things they're saying is that who you know is as important as what you know. In fact, in some cases, it is even more important because you can be brilliant, but if nobody knows you, if nobody introduces you, if nobody's going to speak on your behalf. So networking is key. Even in this pandemic, people are getting jobs using networking. So how do we improve am I seeing comments? Let me see. Okay, 5 minutes left. Okay. Well, let's see. Improving our social awareness and skill. You need to develop a genuine interest in people, and as I said, seek to understand and not just to be understood. You need to study the impact of your behavior, of your speech. When you talk to people, look at reactions. Don't just talk. Clarify expectations with all stakeholders. You have, as a PhD student or as a master student, you have a project to do. Understand expectations, the timelines, clarify expectations. Because what causes conflict that we are talking from these different pages on the same matter, but we are looking at different data sources. We need to expand our world. The world is bigger than your tribe. The world is bigger than your church. The world is bigger than. Expand your experience of the world. Travel, let pandemic go. As you are here in the UK, go for conference. Go for conference outside. Go for conference in other schools. Museums. How many of us have visited the museums in Aberdeen? Maritime Museum, toll booths, different visits, music, art, expand, nature. Stretch beyond your comfort zones, as I've said. Take initiative, and then also feedback. My screen move. Right words create right feelings. So now I would like to end on a point, the spirit advantage. You see all this I've been saying, psychological principles, this, but hello, I am talking to Glight Ambassadors, Deeper Life Campus Fellowship. The people who know their God shall be strong and do exploits. Some of these things, we can't do it in our power. The Bible says it is God who works in us. He works in me, both to will and to do his good pleasure. He gives you the desire and the power to do what pleases him. So the question is, do you know that God? Because if you don't have the God factor, the spirit advantage, which gives you, your identity in Christ as a child of God. You know that you're a royal priesthood, a holy nation. You know the word of his power. What has God said about you? You have the spirit of grace, the spirit of Christ, the spirit of knowledge, the spirit of understanding, the spirit of peace. We can learn from Bible characters. We see how David was able to work with a difficult boss called Saul. We can learn. Look at Joseph. He understood the law of protocol. He knew that you cannot go to see the king with fully, he shaved when he came out of the prison. He said, I'm just coming from prison. I know the dream. I can interpret the dream. No, he understood interpersonal relationships, understood protocol. He got to the king, shaved, washed, and got in and interpreted the dream. The spirit advantage. I want us to really know that you have that advantage and begin to leverage your advantage as a believer in Christ Jesus. And if you're not born again, hello, you are missing out. You are missing out big time. You need to join the company of those who know their God by giving your life to Jesus Christ, because he gives you power and you can do all things through Christ who strengthens you. So in conclusion, finally, brethren, whatsoever things are true, whatsoever things are honest, whatsoever things are just, whatsoever things are pure, whatsoever things are lovely, whatsoever things are of good report, if there be any virtue, and if there be any praise, think on these things. What you feed your mind is very important. And scriptures have told us for us to have a sound mind, a sound behavior. God has told us what to do, the things we should think about. And those are the things that will affect your emotions. So I have ways you can connect with me by Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram. These are some great materials, bibliography, some books, some video resources, very, very lovely courses you can take on Coursera, leadership and emotional intelligence. You need to watch YouTube. Look at Kalahari's talking about tools to maximize your success. You can take the emotional stability workshop. The Coursera course for students is free. For emotional stability workshop is free. And there's many psychometric tests. I just put a link to some of them. And thank you so much for listening. I enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed sharing with you. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Emem. That was wonderful, insightful, and that was power-packed. And personally, I enjoyed it. I don't know any other person enjoyed it as much as I did. Maybe I enjoyed it the most.
And, it's going to be an interesting one too. We have someone who is a real critical thinker that will be handling for us. Yeah, so we'd like to see you next month, and to invite your friends, tell others, tell everybody. So just like we had today, next month is going to be a great one. I promise you, next month is going to be a great one. So let's try to connect next month. And once again, thank you for coming on behalf of everyone, Glight, myself, ourselves. Thank you for coming. Try to follow us on our page. And as you can see, we are a happy group, happy people. Despite the pandemic, we are still doing our thing. And just try coming, look at what we have coming in the coming months. Great events, talk on research proposal, publications, funding, solving critical problems. So just try to come and connect to all these programs. It's going to be a great time this year. Thank you very much for coming. God bless everybody.
God bless you too.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
God bless you.
Thank you, Dr. Emem. Thank you, Suri. Thank you, everyone.
Dr. Emem say it's okay not to be okay. That one got me. So it's okay not to be okay.
It's okay, we are humans now. What will we do?
Like, I don't know now, but I'll think about what it is.
I'll think about it.
I'll think about it.
So I celebrate the truth is working me through me. No, my God's not done making me a masterpiece. He's still working on me. He started something good and I'm gonna believe it. He started something good and he's gonna complete it. So I celebrate the truth.
You gotta know that now.
I'm just unfinished. I'm just unfinished. So I celebrate the truth. It's working me through. I'm just unfinished. I know his history and the kind of God he is. He might make it a mystery. He's proven I can trust in him. And yeah, I believe it. So I can't pick myself back up.